It's Fantasy Polling Monday, everybody. We're all still here. We're all tired. Everything's exhausting. How's it going, Tom? Tom, how you doing? You on mute, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are.
Okay. Yeah, I am definitely present. I am excited on the one hand because I have acquired Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West. Because Sony is actually being legitimately awesome about how they're releasing games.
Have you begun to Elden your rings yet?
Oh no, they are installing, and they will be installing until tomorrow.
I hear that it's a rather beefy game.
I've heard that it's amazing. Like the Metacritics that it's gotten over the last week, people have been calling it the best open world game since Breath of the Wild.
Ooh, that's some pretty fancy accolades to look up to.
Yeah.
Speaking of open worlds, Tom and I were just discussing before we actually dropped on whether or not one of the topics of the evening should be the how did you put it? 6-day-old elephant in the room?
Yes.
Yeah, man. War is garbage, and we should all reject it, I think. Okay.
I think the Ukrainians are doing a very good job of rejecting it.
Well, yeah, like that's the cool thing, right? Like that's wild to see. Sounds like Putin may have overestimated his abilities, and certainly underestimated the Ukrainians' desire to not be reabsorbed back into Russia. All right, real quick, back on the topic of game stuff. I know that's a jarring segue. Tom, I've got these statues.
Yeah, so I'm back. Sorry, I had to step off. My mom was calling me on my phone.
Step off.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the statues. It has been years since I did that quest.
I know there's like a monster den marker here.
Yeah.
And I tried to make those two statues face each other, and then tried to make these two statues face each other, but it's through the cave wall.
Yeah.
And
this is just a random place that you went to?
No, it was a marker on the world map.
But it's not part of a quest.
No. So
you might come back here as part of a quest.
Okay, that's just a monster.
And then it will make more sense.
All right, so let's see where we need to go then. Let's hop a boat and go hit this thing. All right. But no, it's wild to see, and I despise the very concept of war. I find it so tremendously abhorrent.
I mean, so do most professional soldiers. I mean, the ones that have legitimately thought about it, they don't like it either.
Right, but there seems to be a continual societal need for it in order to do things like maintain economies or enforce made-up borders.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
it's
borders are indeed stupid.
Yeah, but if we don't have war, then what will prevent our economy from failing? And if you need violence to reassert your reliance on your false ass idea of money, then maybe you shouldn't have an economy. Maybe you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Russia in particular is, and I'm not an expert. If we really wanted to I could get one of my buddies to come on to the stream sometime who is a like legit Russia expert.
Hey, look, here's the other thing, right? And this is somewhat of like a more personal take. I recently got into a somewhat brief but shockingly spicy exchange with a friend of mine. Because the statement was made, you know, nobody wants war, and I was like, I find that very optimistic.
Vladimir Putin very much wants war.
And she assured me that she has a bead on the political situation, right? And this is the thing that like that hit me in a way that I did not expect. At first, I was like super defensive. I was like, yeah, because
Are you going the wrong way?
Probably, but I have to navigate around a mountain. Besides, it's not like we're on a time crunch, man. We're just killing time before the bombs fall.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, there's a bunch of guys down there. I don't like the look of these fellas. But that hit me in a way that I didn't really expect, right? Because on the one hand, this is the same stuff that I have been like somewhat, shall we say, somewhat loudly decrying since the since before 2000, right? Like when I had recruiters at my high school, I was like, "Hey, I don't support your military or anything that you stand for. I don't. No, I do not want to be a part of your war efforts. I find it absolutely abhorrent. Like this is a stance that I have had for a very long time. And then I saw the same sort of things happen in 2000 with the beginnings of Bush. Like during Bush v. Gore, my primary worry about Bush getting into office was we were going to go back into war in the Middle East. You know, he on the campaign trail, made several statements to that end regarding Saddam and Saddam's relationship with my daddy, quote unquote. And I was like, don't like that.
In particular, he was very much about going after Iraq.
Right. You know, he very much wanted to maintain some kind of, I don't know, like familial legacy of being the guys who are tough men in the Middle East.
So it wasn't just that; it was also the whole what the hell is that organization called? PNAC, Project for a New American Century, the neoconservative think tank.
Oh yeah,
had been pushing for the U.S. to go into Iraq for a decade at that point.
Yeah, you know, and it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like things were super peaceful before Bush got in, right? We still had our limited involvement in the conflicts of like Bosnia Herzegovina, the Croatian,
Somalia.
Somalia. Like all of it was disgusting to me.
Well, and Clinton launching cruise missiles at aspirin factories.
Yes, like it was all equally monstrous. Okay, now I'm going the wrong way. All right, hang on. I need to
place a marker.
Yeah, I know. Boat.
You've got a marker on your map, but it's for like another continent.
It's got a marker on my map, but it's for where I need to go once I get to the boat. Now I just need to get to the boat. I've got a process, Tom. It's a bad process, but it's a process. So like this is all stuff that I have spent my entire life following, right? So initially when my friend said, "Trust me, I've got a beat on these politics," I was like, "Okay, well, what are my takes? Chopped liver?" You know, like this is the kind of thing that I too have been paying attention to. I bristle at the idea that I don't know anything about it. And then I thought, and I'm like, man, I don't know anything about the intricacies of the geopolitical muckety muck between Russia and Ukraine. I am not an expert.
So the thing that I was going to say earlier when I made the caveat that I'm not a Russia expert, I do know some things about Russia though. So Russia is a little bit like America in that it's a construct. It's not. Russia isn't one thing. Like you go to England, and while there are different like regional cultures and whatnot in England, and note I'm specifically using the word England and not the United Kingdom because the United Kingdom is also a construct.
For the best. No, all nations are constructs. Right.
But there are certain polities in the world that they're a thing. Like they are one thing. They have a shared history.
Tom busting out the thesaurus with polities.
They have a shared culture, a shared history. Mm-hmm. They're relatively homogenous within one region. Like they're a singular entity. Russia is a lot more like America, where it is a giant construct that was built over time. We think of Russia as this like giant expansive empire, but like most people don't realize that Russia didn't stretch all the way across Asia like it does until the 1800s.
Yeah, see, I think of Russia as as like a series of incredibly impoverished and like economically shattered villages dotted across a vast, expansive, and inhospitable landscape. I don't think of it. I don't think of it as like the evil empire. I think of it as a bunch of really poor people being bullied around by, for lack of a better term, like one prick who thinks he's hot shit.
And that is an accurate example of what Russia was up until about the 1930s, when the Soviet Union really began like super industrialization, like massively subsidizing the construction of industry and growth of cities all across the country. And then that got interrupted by World War II, and then it kicked off again after World War II. Like, Russia does have a lot of problems with poverty, but it's not the like isolated villages that you would picture from like the 17 or 1800s. Like, it's a country with lots of cities.
Right. But it's also a country with lots of cities that are like hugely spread out. Right? Like,
but I mean, like, that's...
Well,
they have lots of small cities in between them too.
Yeah, but look, man, like you find the same thing in Texas.
Right, exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. It's a lot more comparable to America than it is to, like, if you think about England or France. Like, Russia is a country that kind of just glommed together over time.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing that people have been talking about over the last few days that's been really heavily debated is Ukraine is a historical region of Russia. And whenever anyone brings that up around me, I'm always like,
who cares?
I mean, kinda. Like, for centuries, it was the land of the Cossacks.
Yeah, but like, who cares? Who cares whether or not it was a historical part of Russia? I mean, aside from Putin, who, like...
Yeah.
It's just one prick going like, hey, 100 years ago, this was Russian land. Yeah, but it's not anymore.
Well, I mean, it's not even 100 years ago. Like, Ukraine didn't become separate until 1991.
Mm-hmm.
So, 31 years ago. And just saying that makes me feel so old.
You'll be fine.
But it wasn't independent until 31 years ago. But if you went back to 1891, like Russia at the time, the region of Ukraine in Russia at the time, like, yeah, if you looked at a map, technically it was part of Russia, but also like it was a protectorate being run by the hetmans of the Cossacks.
Yeah,
like,
but my guy,
it was
like
autonomous.
I'm honestly like I'm not concerned about like the historical mythological function of like the Russo, like I'm not looking for a political history dependent upon knowledge of Koschei the Deathless, right? I'm not like, oh, this is what was prophesied in one of Baba Yaga's mad ramblings. I'm talking about post Glasnost, post Yeltsin, right? Like there are our perception of Russia doesn't have to be bound to, well, here's what Stalin was like. We have more recent examples that we can learn from, right? Like history is a living, breathing thing, and we can look at how things are currently. What I came to the realization of was that my friend, like as defensive as I got at first, is absolutely right. Like she does have a beat on the politics, and frankly, a much greater beat than I probably have. I'm locked in a highly like anti-war. Nah, fuck it. It's bad. It's always bad. I'm locked in that bias. Okay, and I think back to when I had 40-year-olds saying, "Oh, you kids sure are optimistic," and my response was like, "Yeah, I am optimistic. Fuck you." And now I'm just the 40-year-old. And that was a hard thing to come to grips with, was that it's like, oh, politics, I'm not sure if my political insight is relevant anymore. Like, what am I doing about it? Am I going off and, and like raising a stink? Am I, no, it's not like I have a job or money. Am I donating to the cause? What am I doing except just saying, there's always people that profit from war. Of course there are. Everybody knows that. It was a humbling experience, I'll tell you that.
I think this might be the first war that, well, I guess like Raytheon is definitely going to make some money replacing all of the Javelin missiles that have been fired off.
Mm-hmm.
But like Russia definitely isn't profiting from this.
No.
Ukraine is going to profit from it because when this is done, they will definitively be an independent nation.
Yeah, but again, all it takes is human lives, right? Like lots and lots of human lives. And that's why I find it so abhorrent, right? Like that's the thing I hate the most. Is that for everybody that's like, wow, this war is really impressive. It's like in the first night, 137 Ukrainians died, and the only thing that they did quote unquote wrong was anger some rich asshole who's 5'6" and wants to act like he's 5'8". Right?
And they did start it, but at the same time, 3,000 plus Russians have died.
3,000 Russians, and from the reports that I've heard, a lot of these Russians are just
19-year-old conscripts,
right? Just confused, conscripted kids, and like, there's nothing snarky. There's nothing snarky that I can say about it. There's no, I find no humor in it, right? On the one hand, like it's strangely inspiring.
Can we just comment on the fact that there are so many dead sirens underneath your boat that they're causing it to go all cattywampus?
Well, they keep coming at me, Tom. But on the one hand, right, like it is strangely inspiring to have Zelensky say straight up action movie lines like, "I don't need a ride, I need more ammunition." You know,
I mean,
the Snake Island guys with their "Hey, Russian warship, go fuck yourselves." And by the way, there's not going to be any like censorship or age restriction on this because it is again the pinnacle of folly for older generations to assume that the kids don't know what's going on better than they do. That was a mistake that I have made.
So I've been doing some armchair analysis of the whole situation, and I really think that this was one of those, like, all of this taken together, I think comes down to the fact that, did you see that giant whale in the distance, by the way?
No, I did not. I am somewhat happy that I missed it.
You could only just barely see its silhouette, but there was a big-ass whale in the distance.
Ass whale. Go on.
So, I think Putin massively underestimated / overestimated what was going to happen. I think Putin looked at this entire situation and went, "This is going to be like Afghanistan.
This is going to be a cakewalk.
Like the Taliban's
takeover
of Afghanistan. We will invade Ukraine. The Ukrainians will throw down their guns at the first sign of danger, and Zelensky will flee the country."
Yeah, we'll hit Kharkiv, we'll hit Kyiv, we'll knock out the ammo depots, and that'll be it.
We'll just be able to walk in. We'll take everything east of the Dnieper, and then we got it. It's ours. And they were expecting Zelensky to completely fold because 4 years ago he was an actor and a comedian who played the Ukrainian president on TV.
Yeah.
He went on Eurovision and did a bit where he pretended to play a piano with his junk.
Yeah.
Like, he thought that this dude would be a pushover and he would give up, and instead this guy is showing an example of what leadership looks like that we haven't had leaders do since World War II.
Seriously, like, why do we get all of, like, the crap actors for our presidents,
Why do we
right?
have Ted Cruz and they have Zelensky?
No, why do we get like Reagan and Trump as our Hollywood celebrity turned politician? I feel robbed. But still, you know, at the same time, like, man, I may have the right of things, I may have the wrong of things. I don't know, right? I just wish that there weren't people dying for stupid capitalist ego.
Quite, yeah, absolutely.
You know? I just wish that, like, as a whole, I wish that life mattered more than money to these people.
Well, I don't think Putin is doing this for money. I think he's doing this for power. Like, he needs to shore up his position in Russia, and I think his way of doing it is by restoring the glory of, you know, the past or whatever. One of the pieces of analysis that I read over the last, like, few days that really stuck with me is there's been people from the State Department and the CIA who have been studying the what's the word that I want to use? The various, like, media things that Putin has put out since the start of the conflict.
Yeah.
And
propaganda.
The analysis. Yeah, and these are all people who have, like, met Putin.
Right.
Like, they lived in Russia. They've met Putin multiple times. They know what the guy is like. And this is their thoughts on it. And the analysis that's coming out of this dude is Putin is dying. Like, he has cancer or he has something that is seriously wrong with him, and he is dying.
Well,
And this is his last gasp at bringing prestige onto Russia before his whole, you know, image falls apart.
well, let's see if the ego of ostensibly the wealthiest man on earth, let's see if he can come to grips with his own mortality without killing all the rest of us as well.
I mean, he is a billionaire, but he isn't Jeff Bezos.
No, that's the ostensibly part, Tom. That's what that word implies and infers. Right? And besides, Jeff Bezos is only ostensibly the richest man. Right? You get enough people to just go, I don't give a shit about your money, and suddenly his power declines. That is
we have seen with Russia.
As we've seen with Putin. Right? And that's why this is oddly inspiring, is that it's like, oh hey, Ukraine's general response to these strong arm tactics. Oh, what the hell? Ukraine's response to these strong arm tactics has been almost universally just to tell these guys, go fuck yourself.
That my stream just caught up. That was some BS.
Yeah, right.
Sirens just flip his boat
Just
over.
capsize the boat. But it is like that has become a rallying cry in the Ukraine, right? Like they're
putting it up on like street signs.
Yeah, well they're taking down their street signs because again, a bunch of uninformed conscripted soldiers, they're like, we don't know our way around. The Ukrainians are like, yeah, we do. We live here. By the way, we took down the sign for Mulberry Lane and replaced it with an identical sign to the one you just passed that says, hey, go fuck yourselves.
So while the thought's in my head, have you seen the like absolutely tragic stuff that they've been saying about the Russians that have been captured?
Like they're all just scared kids.
And the first thing that they ask for is if they can call their parents to let them know that they're okay.
Yeah.
Like, the whole situation is jacked up. Like,
and that's the thing. Like I understand the need for levity and the need for distraction, and hopefully that's what like this will be. I know that we kind of like straight up dove into really complicated topics. But
I mean, I'm having fun watching you take out sirens and go diving.
Yeah, but like I keep seeing things like Twitter posts that are like, hey, we all have a crush on Zelensky now, and it's like, well, yeah, but there are also people dying, right? And like the Ukraine Ukraine fighting back is very inspiring, but like the conflict isn't over yet. And until it is over, we don't know whether or not it's going to be that wonderful tale about a bunch of scrappy underdogs, standing up against the bullies and winning, or whether or not this will end in tragedy.
There's still time for Putin to do something really stupid.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't have to jump straight to Putin goes around using nukes. Like, there's lots of stupid things he can do before it accelerates to that point.
Yeah,
it would still be terrible.
It bears noting that the only reason that people are talking about Putin using nukes is because Putin is threatening. Like he's the one who's like, well, I better get nuclear ready just in case.
But, I mean, let's talk about some of the stuff that's been revealed about Russia over the last few years. They've got a new kind of nerve gas that chemical protection gear doesn't protect against.
Mm-hmm.
They use it to kill dissidents.
Yeah.
But it's still a perfectly functional form of nerve gas. They can start dropping that on Ukraine.
Right. But I mean, how many people is it going to take for this one guy to finally feel like he's worthy enough of something?
Yeah.
Right? How many people are going to have to die in order for this guy's ego to be sated?
What is that ship up there doing?
I don't know. There's a whale somewhere around me. I hear a big splash.
But yeah, I think so. Russia is and it on the surface, it is a dictatorship. Like Putin is the dictator of Russia, but it's a oligarchy. Like the rich billionaires in Russia are the ones who run everything, and eventually they're going to be tired of their bottom line being hurt.
I think that's already starting to happen.
Yeah,
Fortunately.
and the thing about billionaires getting their bottom lines hurt is that eventually they're going to be like, yeah, no, let's get rid of this Putin guy.
I better hurry up. Because right now, if your goal is to bring some form of, like glory to Russia, you're being made a fool of. Come on, Jerry, get out of the water. Good Lord.
Remember, there's a button that you can, hold to ascend.
No, that's what I'm doing. He's just very, very slow about it. Half of the times in this game, like the controls are like, press A to climb, and I'm like, okay, I press A, and it's like, now hold A to climb, and I'm like, I'm holding A, great. I'm not climbing yet. No, you will. But anyway, no, man, I don't know. It's a hard pill to swallow that one might have outlived their political relevancy. All that I know is that I wish this conflict was over. I very much wish the absolute best for the people who are responding to this war. I wish that we lived in a world that where this didn't happen, and I want to take concrete steps with the rest of my life, regardless of how short or long that may be, to try and create that world. You know, fuck imperialism. It's well. You know, like, I don't fault the Ukrainian, the forces of Ukraine for fighting back at all. Like, their fight is a good fight. I wish it wasn't necessary.
One of the only universally agreed upon forms of just war.
Mm-hmm. Self-defense.
War to defend yourself.
You know, but at the same time, it's so abhorrent to me. 3,000 Russian lives lost, and regardless of whether or not you think of them as, as the enemy, those are human lives, and each one of them is precious and unique, and it's fucking tragic.
Well, and we've mentioned it several times, but it's especially jacked because they're conscripts.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have a choice. This isn't a volunteer army.
And this is the thing, man. My whole, like I mentioned earlier, I graduated high school in 2000, right? Like, I'm one of the first batch of millennials. I first remember hearing the term, like, in the speech at my high school graduation. And then a whole lot of my class died in the first wave in Afghanistan. Right? Like, I had an awful lot of high school friends that went over there and didn't come back. So I have always personally been very, very angry at the wars that I consider taking the lives of friends of mine. Right? Each one of these Russian kids is just another one of my classmates from high school.
So
right?
when you graduated high school, when a lot of your friends, or people that you knew joined the military, they were joining at peacetime.
They were
The only
well,
the
they
only
were
deployment.
they were joining at peacetime because it was economically the best way to get out of Schertz, Texas.
Right, yeah.
Right? Like what else were you going to do with your life? Work at the Stuckies?
So
Like there's only so many shifts that you can pick up at Denny's. May as well join the Marines.
I graduated in 2002, and I joined the military directly out of high school. I graduated in May, and in July I went to basic training, and I enlisted. I actually signed my contract in December of 2001. Like, I joined knowing that the country was at war and I could end up deploying to Afghanistan. And I fully supported fighting against the Taliban and fighting against Al Qaeda because I knew those dudes were bad guys even before September 11th happened. Like, I don't know if I've ever told you the story about like when September 11th happened, like my experience with it.
Well,
Have I ever told you that before?
no, but before you get into it, Rob just brought up kind of exactly the point, right? Like Rob joined for college, and then never went to college because he was too busy going to war.
Yeah.
And like that has been echoed among a ton of my friends who survived, and now I was never fit for military service. Right? By the time that I turned 18, I already had back surgery. I was 4F'd. I would not have made it through basic training.
Yeah.
Right? Severe spinal neuropathy will do that to you. You can't march for a long while if it rains and your leg stops working.
Yeah.
Right? But stories like Rob's were the majority. All these people that were like, yeah, I joined because it was economically the best thing to do, or they said they'd pay for education, or I was looking for on-the-job training, and now I'm over in a desert worrying if that's an empty plastic bag or an IED. Right? Now I come back with severe PTSD and shattered body.
Yeah.
Right? Now I come back having to cope with the fact that I have taken another human life. And regardless of how media portrays it, that is the sort of thing that can haunt and scar you.
Crushed legs, bled to death after they wrecked.
It's just heartbreaking. I just wish that there was less heartbreak, like I don't know, man. It just makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Strange crest.
Like,
not northern, not Nilfgaard.
I remember staying up nights, entire nights where I couldn't sleep because I was worried about Rob. Right? I would stay up late at night worrying about my friend. I was very happy when we finally got the chance to talk to each other.
But before you go diving again, you need to take a break and go sell stuff.
Yep.
You're at 210 weight.
Yep. Just let me read my stuff that I think that's the only thing I need. I don't know what that little flashy thing is. Okay. All right, let's take a look at my Spikereg Agatoon. I think my Great Sun Armor's better. Yeah.
So, in 2001, my senior year, when 9/11 happened, One of the things that I did in high school was debate. And for those of you at home who never did debate when you were in high school because you were actually cool, debate is very organized. Like it's not just a sort of random thing that you get up and you have to discuss at a given time. There's a topic that is chosen by the national committee that runs all of the various debate leagues in the country. They pick a topic every year, and that topic is what is debated by all of the students in all of the debate programs across the U.S.
It's actually a series of topics dependent on which organized event you go into.
Basically, yeah. So
Lincoln Douglas will have a different series of debate topics versus things like extemporaneous.
Yeah, so there is what's called policy debate, which is what I did, and then there are Lincoln Douglas debates, which are a separate program. And Lincoln Douglas debates are usually about moral issues. You're debating some kind of moral issue.
And in case you can't tell, I too was a debater.
Yeah.
Although I was only a debater in finals rounds.
Okay.
Hang on a sec here. I get. Is this the one that I'm tracking currently? I guess so.
I think it wants you to dive into the water next to where that broken boat is.
All right. But I was an interp kid, right? Which meant that I was doing like the poetry, the prose, dramatic interpretation, comedic interpretation, all of the acting scenes.
You were at National Forensics League?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did that as well. I only did extemporaneous speaking and informative speaking.
Yeah. But I had a pretty good crop of friends in the debaters, including a couple of the like our school's star LD guys, who would main vir mod in alid uniden nidin vir body Cyprus. All right.
That would be Elvin.
All right. Uncover what became of the second ship. But so when
that
those
sounds very ominous.
Yeah, when those guys would get to the finals, by that point it was like, well, one of these teams is going home with first place and the other one is going home with second place. Right? And we've worked really hard to get here, and now we're either going home with first place or going home with second place, so we don't have to work hard anymore. So we would have like one half of the LD team would just go, man, you know what? I'm going to run my entire case off of the phrase Boris Yeltsin is a slobbering drunk. And
you should get your boat.
That's what I'm heading towards it. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna pull Fuller in because he can stall for time and just sort of like talk out of his ass. What is happening? Why am I?
Because you're just barely touching the ground.
I'm doing like a half Jesus thing. I'm not walking on the water, but I am walking in the water. But so like I would go and, if I didn't have an event going on, I would go and sit next to this guy who was like a future, a future attorney and just like taunt his opponents. And the goal from that point on became to make the judge laugh as much as you could. So it was just like a tight five of stand-up several times throughout the match.
Which I imagine someone who spends a lot of time doing prose and poetry probably is pretty good at.
Yeah. You know, like you could just be goofy.
But yeah, so I did policy debate 2 years when I was in high school, because with policy debate, every other year is it's foreign policy, and then the next year is a domestic policy,
Yeah.
then foreign policy, then domestic policy. And I could not care about domestic policy debates. If I had to debate the merits of tax policy, I would pull my hair out.
Tom, you went on to become an economist.
I know. The economist brain thing came later.
Jesus, what happened to you?
I learned to be an analyst.
Oh, no.
And being an analyst makes you really good at math, and being really good at math makes you really good at economics.
Sounds like a propaganda to me, Tom.
So, my senior year, 2001, was a foreign policy year for policy debate. So I did debate that year, and the policy, or the resolution, because all of the topics were a form of resolved. We're implementing this policy, and for that year it was resolved. The United States should implement a policy to reduce the threat of weapons of mass destruction. So, you know, as you are wont to do in policy debate, you're going to learn everything you possibly can about the topic of weapons of mass destruction, because you don't know, if you're on the defense for a round of debate, you don't know what your opponents are going to bust out as their policy, so you have to be ready for anything.
Yeah, you carry around your box and you get ready to either go A or neg, depending on your assignment.
Exactly. So I was one of the people in my group of 4 debaters who were on a team. I was one of the ones who extensively studied terrorism. For lots of people were doing reducing the threat of weapons of mass destruction by keeping WMDs out of the hands of terrorists. So I knew a lot about Al-Qaeda before 9/11, a lot. So when 9/11 happened, my first period class was advanced literature, and then my second period class was debate. And by the end of first period class, we'd all seen the videos, the TVs got turned on, all the lessons stopped, we all saw what had happened. By second period, when we were in debate, all of us were no longer just sitting there staring at the TVs. We were all huddled in a group in the middle of the room, and we were discussing in detail, so who did this?
Yeah.
And unlike most people who would have just been doing idle speculation with no real idea, we, within the first 5 minutes of discussing it, narrowed it down to be, okay, this is Al-Qaeda or it's Hezbollah, and Iran is not going to let Hezbollah off the chain to do something like this. So it's Al-Qaeda. And we knew that immediately upon discussing the topic.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I mean, I was in acting classes, but it was a very similar, once you've learned to get the information sources, you learn to poke around and be like, okay, well, who are the interested parties in this area? Who are the actors?
You know why that's leading you?
No, I don't.
Do you know
what's up?
It's leading you to that sign because the place you need to go to is in a different map zone.
Oh.
It wants you to go to Novigrad.
Okay. Well, I mean, I gotta sell some stuff anyway, so this is as good a time. So sure, why not? And that was part of the tough thing, right? And this kind of loops back into what I was saying earlier. That was part of the tough thing, is that it's I'm a guy who where's
hit Y for
there
world map. Yep.
There we are. Ella, no man's land. Okay. Sure, let's go to Velen, I guess.
And then just hit up Crow's Perch so you can sell stuff.
I'll go to Lucian's Windmill.
Some peasants found her and took her to the Baron, Velen's self-appointed ruler.
I mean, I doubt that whatever my loot is here, it'll be 10 pounds worth of
Yeah, probably not.
worth of stuff. But that was the hard thing, right? Is realizing that that is as much access to information as I had back at that time, and as much as I, kind of like prized my ability to. Oh, hey, here we go. Yo, merchant.
Greetings.
Show me what you got.
Wouldn't mind a look at your stuff.
As much as I. Nope, he's bugged. All right, never mind.
Farewell.
As much as I know, like how I gathered information and how I viewed, the sources that I use to kind of conceptualize the events that are happening around me. The kids these days, for lack of a better term,
They have so much access to information.
they're so much faster at it than I am.
I couldn't dream of having Wikipedia when I was in high school.
Right? So when my friend like rightfully so snaps back and says, "Hey, I've kind of got a beat on this dude." Of course she does. Like, what a fool I would have to be to assume otherwise. But I still hold by it. I still, I still maintain that, like, I am in admiration of her optimism. I hope that none of the people who are making decisions in the U.S. at least want to follow this up with another war. Right? Simultaneously, I know that there are defense companies that do want another war, and they always will. Right? It's how they make their money. And to them, the money's more important than American life.
I mean, that's just capitalism in general.
Yes.
The money is always more important than lives.
Yes. And so I really, like, I say this without any kind of, like, without any of my trademark snark or
You need to surface
oh shit, I
real
do.
bad.
Whee! All right, up you go. Come on, Gerald. Go. Get up there, Gerald. Gerald, no! There were too many drowners, and I wasn't paying attention. Anyway.
You just drowned.
Yeah.
From drowners.
Yeah.
It's apropos.
They're aptly named, I suppose. I feel such
That
shame.
was a whole lot of drowners, though. You killed like 9.
That
with
was a
your
lot.
crossbow.
That was a lot of drowners. Okay. Let's try this again. But yeah, what absolute folly for me to be like, for me to hold the assumption that that I know more than, especially this friend who is, like, truly in the thick of it. Still, I pray to God that she's right. The lives that have been lost so far are already, to me, unimaginably tragic. I don't want to see more. I don't want to see more losses. I don't want to see more American losses. I don't want to see more Ukrainian losses. I don't want to see more Russian losses. I'm just so sad about this stuff all the time. I don't know what to do about it. Is the real kicker. I do not know how to conceptualize that sadness. So it's been very tricky for me the last few days. Right? How do you contextualize it, Tom?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Be bad at the human part.
I don't wanna.
I can't help you then.
I want to be good at the human part, right? Like I want the human part to be better in everyone involved, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to spur that on, and it's just incredibly frustrating.
I mean, I guess it's another one of those examples of like the tragedies of being in the military and what it does to you, but like being someone who is in military intelligence and who is trained to be an analyst, like being able to disengage with a situation is just something that I can do.
Right, but
Like-
but I think the problem is that and no shade thrown. I think the problem is that we do that far too readily.
Yeah.
And I think that especially in light of America's cultural, I think especially in light of what we have just endured as a nation in Afghanistan, right? A 20-year plus campaign, right? I think that we do that all too readily. I think that it has become commonplace for us. I think that we have overly abstracted military life just in terms of, well, this is an acceptable loss. And by God, it should not be. Right? Like, can you imagine if we like legitimately treated the loss of a single American life as a policy failure? Could you imagine if we actually did like what a government could do ostensibly, and be like, hey, there's a person here who died of preventable disease. That's a policy failure. Right? Why is an American dying of a preventable disease in the year of our Lord 2022? How have we failed? Instead, we mark it off as acceptable. And now we're marking off, well, look at the severe cost of these Russians, like it's some sort of Red Dawn fan fiction. Right? Like 3,000 Russians dead in the first day. Hell yeah. Hell no. That's fucking awful.
I mean, as many Russian soldiers have died in Afghanistan in the last 6 days as in 20 years of the global war on terror for U.S. soldiers.
Right.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, and still, like, anything north of 1 is awful. Right? Oh, that's what's happened. I found a spawn point. These gross little dudes are just going to keep coming.
So it's just ignore them and swim.
I guess.
Try and find this ship. Are you in the sea or are you in like a lake?
I'm in like some little like eddy thing. I don't know.
Look at your map real quick.
See, it's a big circle that says like, it's nearby.
But it's got to be in the water, so like.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's not really that big of a circle.
Well, we'll see how, maybe one of these thingers over here. Huh. I don't know. I have a confused. But no, man, you know, it's just... It makes me sad, Tomas.
Yeah.
I wish not to be sad. I wish that I wish that this conflict hadn't resulted in 3,000 people who, you know, who will never go home to see their families.
You know what you ought to do right now, John? Go to the shore and meditate until you have better weather.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, meditate until like 6 a.m. the next morning, and hopefully you won't have a driving rainstorm giving you zero visibility.
Well, I can't do it now because there's a
drowner right
yeah,
behind
there's a
you.
grabby ghoul. Maybe what's going on with this ship is like, maybe it washed up somewhere up here. Nope, those are just mushrooms. Okay. Who knows? Maybe it's on this little isthmus. This should be a good enough place to meditate. But yeah, man, it's a rough ass thing, and I'm just, boy howdy, I'm tired of the constant I'm tired of the constant presence of military conflict in my life. You know?
Now you know how peasants felt during the 14th century.
I've always known how peasants have felt during the 14th century, my guy. Like, the upside that I see out of this horrible situation is that maybe it will be inspiring, right? Maybe it will be a level of... Maybe people will see what happens when you are able to simply reject somebody who makes the claim that they are more powerful, right? What if Putin's not the only... oh, sorry. What if Putin's not the only blowhard that we can tell to go fuck themselves?
You see mainward, woman and plated, from far, different talk, different cloth.
Have I seen a foreign woman with a platen?
Yeah, that foreign woman from distant.
I don't know what this guy's deal is, but I kind of like him.
Why are you looking for them?
They bad, running from punishment, evil only, ill fortune.
Now I like him less.
Here, woman and plated. Here, evil and ill fortune.
What did he say?
He said she ran from punishment, only evil and ill fortune, and now they're here, evil and ill fortune. I'm like, I'm not going to help you with your witch hunt.
Oh, those are like legit witch hunters.
Well,
No, haven't seen anyone.
how could you tell?
I must find.
They're wearing the
foreign
uniform.
woman with plated.
Yeah, but I don't respect that. Because I mean, I do have like, I think I have a shawl in my inventory stuff. Like,
Is it because they're robots, John?
no, it's because they're bureaucrats.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Bureaucrats, Morty. I don't respect them. No, witch hunters. That's just another word for cops. You know, hey, this woman ran from punishment. She's evil and ill fortune. Yeah, I've heard that before. All right, let's find this. Let's find this dang thing. But no, man, it's. Lights in video games are powered by real electricity. It's true. I'm outside using electricity to make a secondary sun. I want this to be over soon. I hope. If Putin does have cancer, it's not being aggressive enough. Hurry it up, cancer.
Yeah. Maybe it can get helped out with some polonium. The Russians are pretty good about giving people that.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's not like he hasn't been exposed to that stuff as well. Yep.
Surface, there is a wrecked ship to your left.
There's a couple of drowners directly on my nuts, so.
Well, once they're dead, there is a wrecked ship to your left, and I'm gonna bet that whatever the thing you need is in it.
All right, this one.
Yep. Search the area around it, and I bet you're gonna find your thing.
Let's find out. There's some weeds down there.
Because it might be on the land.
Do you think it's that ship? This looks like a pretty wrecked ship.
Yeah, it could be that one. Like, see, coming here during the day, definitely.
Yeah, now that I can actually see things. Now that I'm using more electricity to make a brighter landscape. Get out of the water, Jerry.
So, talking about all light in video games being powered by electricity reminds me of I saw a like meme the other day that was I think I effing love science was the group that shared it, but it was name a fact. There it is. That's what you need.
Yep. We got it, lads.
Name a fact about like science or the world in general that is true but will make you sound completely unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
And my go-to fact is always yellow is a hallucination.
Go on.
That we all agree on. Like yellow, humans do not have the ability to perceive yellow.
You dingleberry, that's not yellow, that's magenta.
No, humans do not have the ability to perceive yellow because we only have red and green cones in our eyes. So yellow is just a color that our brain makes up. Magenta is a color that does not exist.
Ma'am! Oh god, she's Welsh.
She seems very upset.
What are you doing here?
I seek them. Woman, criminal. Child, not hers. She took.
Why should I believe
Yeah, consciousness is a hallucination. We're all part of a simulation that are run by, like computers in our brains, and yeah, whatever. I woke up this morning and my back hurts. The simulation sucks.
What did the woman
All right, like they wasted a lot of programmer hours in the simulation, making sure that my hips suck.
You can't hurt the woman, or take the child. I won't let you.
Feli, Gadael ido fold.
I do not understand you. Okay. I disarmed him, Tom.
This from me.
Well done.
What do I do here?
Accept the gift.
I guess. Thank you. Don't speak Welsh. Child is wearing a stupid hat, ma'am.
Good luck.
They're both wearing stupid hats. So Daniel put consciousness is a hallucination, and we don't know that yet. The nature of consciousness is not understood.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it may as well be, right? Like, money is just as much a shared hallucination as the color yellow. The biggest difference is that when I'm painting minis, I have more difficulty getting money to stick to it. Yeah, the same neurotransmitters that are indicative of chemical hallucinations are the ones that run your brain when you're sober. Yeah, like, you know, it is perception reality? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what those people's deal was with the witch hunter and everything. I don't know any of that. I just know, hey, I found a thing. Good for me. Let's go to Hierarch Square and sell some crap.
You're probably going to end up having to hit up multiple merchants.
I do have an awful lot of stuff.
You got a lot of crap to sell.
I do have a bunch of stuff. Well, let's get started. Where's our... Where is our... Pardon me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
An abomination.
Yo, what up, Schmeckle?
Top-notch swords.
Show me what you got.
Show me what you have in
I should run back to Crow's Perch eventually and get that pick up that armor from my smith friend. All right, he's got 2k gold. He's gonna buy a bunch of armor, 'cause that tends to run pretty heavy. Ooh. And he is out of gold. Let's see what stuff I can buy from him. Already read those. Go on ahead and buy some more armor repair kits. And what's that? Axie? There we go. But no, what other thoughts you got on things, Tom?
Thoughts on things.
Yeah, I mean, like, by all means, keep throwing your Ukraine hot takes at me. I do think that I advertised this show something like hot takes, like bad Twitter hot takes, but live.
So most of the thoughts that I have about Ukraine are from the intelligence analyst side of my brain turning on and looking at situations. So my thoughts on the invasion and how it has gone down is that the Russian military quite possibly didn't know that they were actually going to be invading Ukraine until maybe a day before the order came down, invade Ukraine. They thought that this was all going to be posturing.
Yeah, it was gonna
until Putin told them we're pulling the trigger.
It was going to be like military exercises, right? Everything's fine.
Yeah, I think their military legitimately had to scramble at the last minute to put together an actual invasion plan, and that's why everything has been so incompetent. And let me say, definitively, from a military point of view, this invasion has been wildly incompetent.
Yep.
They're screwing up basic stuff. The one that I keep coming back to whenever I'm discussing this with people in general is the Russian invasion routes that they're taking. They have single lanes for their logistics train. So all of the like supplies that they have to move forward to their troops on the front line are going down single lanes. And the significance of that is that traffic can only go one way at a time. So if you're trucking in trucks full of fuel and food and ammo and whatnot, the trucks that are empty and coming back, or like trucks that are full of wounded to come back, can't move at the same time, and vice versa. Like, you can only move one way at a given time. Like, that's World War I shit.
Yep.
Like, countries figured out not to do that in World War I.
Converting to crowns.
You've come to the right place.
Yeah, as I understand, like they, the Russians have discovered that Ukraine is functionally a series of choke points.
Yeah.
So now we're seeing like entire supply columns get wrecked, and then we're seeing a whole bunch of folks. Oh god, this guy's got. I don't need white gold for anything else, right?
You're done with your alchemy, pretty much.
Then I'm not gonna buy all that dude's stuff. Tempting though it might be.
You remember how much you were fighting for cherry cordials, and this guy's got 36
Yeah, he's got 36 of them. Jerk.
Now that you don't need it anymore.
Fantastic. Thanks for being there when I needed you.
And he's not even a bartender.
Just the random guy that had all of the stuff that I needed.
What have you got there?
Let's see if this dude's got anything useful.
He's an herbalist, so you're done with your alchemy.
Yeah, fair. I mean, there's still some, like... I hate to say it, there's still some decoctions that I need to make, Tom. Alright, I need to go back to... Was it at Crow's Perch was where the armor was? Or were they?
Yeah, where you can get your suit of armor is at Crow's Perch. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that then. Yeah, Crow's Perch. But Daniel says, no statement yet from the Democratic Socialists of Canada about Putin's war. I denounce their silence. Also, they're gearing up to denounce whatever the position they take. And I think that's fair. Again, I see a lot of people, sharing their newfound policy expertise about the conflict in Ukraine on Twitter, and I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, and it seems irresponsible and selfish to just say like, dang, I'm really sad about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course you are. Everybody is. It's a very sad situation. Suck it up.
Like, even so, I'm a member of some subreddits that have been memeing the shit out of this conflict since it started. But even they're getting to the point where they're like,
it's ready. I've reinforced the
this is like watching a professional boxer beat up a 10-year-old at this point. Like, it's not entertaining for anyone involved.
In thanks for what you did.
It's just sad.
Yeah.
Like, why does this have to keep continuing?
Because we keep relying on the money.
What can I do for you?
Interesting lilt in your voice. You originally from Skellige?
Odd Skelly. Spent my whole childhood in Holmstein.
It's funny she doesn't sound Skellige.
Always had a liking for the smithy. I'd sit there all day taking things in. The heat of the
Skellige strikes me as a little bit more Scottish/Norse.
My dad told me he could teach me no more. Sent me out there into the world. Bid me to hone my craft. A few years on.
I mean, it is basically Scotland,
Yeah.
What are you selling?
you know,
What's good?
under the control of the Vikings.
Yo, what's good? Is this my new fancy armor?
No, you want to actually ask her about the armor.
I did. I think I
And what
already
did
got
she
it.
say?
She gave it to me.
Yeah, I think. Is that it? The Hindersfall armor?
And I hope not. That armor sucks.
That might be the problem. Is that you way over leveled for this quest?
Oh well.
You are level 25 and it's level 16 armor.
Well, then I guess she gets to sell that. I'll keep it as a souvenir. I'll throw it in my thing. 82% critical hit damage bonus, minus 39 damage. Nope, goodbye. Total Cure Blade, 50% hit, critical chance, no. It's pretty good, but I like my better damage and stats. Alright, let's resort this by type.
I hadn't noticed Daniel's last message, even though you read it. I was busy. I am so one of the things that we had discussed earlier today. I am soliciting other people's advice on that topic, and I'm sorry for being cryptic to the people at home.
No, look, man. I do not mean to denigrate your analyst skills, right? We all know guys who know guys. Oh yeah, thanks, Vin. FYI, nobody cares.
But
right?
yeah,
we all know some analysts. Yeah, man. Everybody knows analysts.
I mean that what
turns out when you embroil a country in war for for 2 solid fucking decades, you wind up with a whole bunch of analysts.
I meant the topic that you and I were discussing over text earlier.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I am discussing that with some other folks, and I was reading while you were reading out what Daniel's statement was, and I just chuckled after having read it myself. That yes, be prepared to denounce anything that they actually do say when they finally take a position.
Yeah.
Oh, so
the Democratic
one
Socialists
of the
Canada.
things that has really upset me since the start of all of the fighting, Comrade Gritty coming hardcore out as a tanky and just being all over Putin's knob.
Hey man, I don't take my political I try not to take my political cues from hockey mascots, you know.
Why not though?
Because like we didn't like Keith Olbermann, who was a sports guy who suddenly knew all about politics. Why should I like Gritty?
Take care now.
Right? Like I mean, cool. If he wants to throw, you know, like pro worker rhetoric, great. But I'm not going to ask him like, hey, who should I root for in a war? Like, come on. All right. Okay, I think we're done there. I have sold enough of my stuff. Let me drop off my souvenirs and have you do a quick weapons comparison for me. And we will get back on our way. But no, man, you know, like, it's just a weird time. It's a real weird time. There's a strange level of like existential nihilism that has come down because, look, Biden still hasn't, like, you know, forgiven student loans like he said he would. You know, we still haven't seen our extra survival checks. So what do we do? What do we do? No, just keep going. Keep doing the. If they're gonna throw the bombs, it's not like I can, you know, all of a sudden get out and I don't know, vote harder. It's not like that seems to have any effect anyway. What do you do? Buckle up, stay inside, and you know, try really hard not to get fallout on you, I guess.
I mean, I could get really morbid with the risk of nuclear attack on San Antonio, but I'm gonna not do that.
There's no point in like preparing for it, right? Like if we're gonna get hit, because again, military city USA, if we're gonna get hit, it's not like we can run fast enough.
Where you live, you would probably be very unlikely to be affected by the initial effects. Meaning, if you could just get away from San Antonio quickly enough, you'd probably be fine.
Have you ever tried to navigate down Stone Oak at 2:00 in the afternoon during a lunch rush?
You wouldn't be going towards San Antonio. You'd want to go north.
No, I'm saying, have you ever tried to reach the interstate? Have you ever tried to reach 281 during lunchtime?
Yeah, and it's impossible, but you're not going that direction.
I am if I'm trying to head north.
You're not going to want to get on the highways at all.
We got a street that runs through a neighborhood, and it don't go anywhere. Like it cuts off midway, unless I suppose things will be significantly flatter.
I mean, Stone Oak goes north and eventually turns into county roads.
All right, man. Hey, take a look at these swords and tell me which ones I should use.
Sure.
Sometimes
if you can throw something into that steel sword that will give you a really good bonus to your critical hit chance, go with the Wild Hunt Warrior sword. If you've got a really good critical hit chance rune to put in it.
Let's see if I do. I've got bleeding, free, stun, stagger.
You want one that's going to give you like at least a +5, if not a +10.
I don't know if I have any critical hit runes. I think I've got like all the status ones. I've got some attack power and some armor piercing. But I don't think that I have anything that'll upgrade crit.
Then I would say keep your current sword, because that very, very high chance of critical hit is going to be more valuable to you than the bonus to critical hit damage when you are going to crit less often.
All right, what about this?
Definitely better. For like a burning into
Venel?
Yeah.
Sure, critical hit chance. I do miss the critical hit bonus, but you said burning?
Yeah.
That's a 5% chance to cause burning. Oh. Come here, I need you. Back out of that. Inventory. Armor, Gavanel. Burning. Yes. And I'm just going to throw these crossbow bolts in here because I never use them. Alright, now we're just back down to, I'm carrying 85 pounds worth of runes and armorer's tools.
You haven't sold your saddles. I don't think. Yeah, the middle one. Yeah, you have 2 saddles and
But the equip stuff that I have is already better, so I'll go sell those.
yeah.
And I guess I can pick up these other blinders and sell them as well. And I got my trophy collection, my picture of a dude. A couple of crossbows. We'll go on ahead and grab those and sell them. Got a pile of bolts, a bunch of shirts. I got a pretty nice wardrobe. This is a lot like my closet at home. Just weapons and utter crap. Clothes. Alright. Anyway. Oh man, so at this point, that's kind of what I've determined to do. I'm gonna continue painting little superheroes and, you know, try not to panic about anything, and
What can I do for you?
I guess it's okay to be sad, you know? Not much else we can do.
What's good?
So it's a fun episode of Fantasy Poland Monday this time, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, everybody getting mopey about the state of the world.
Don't worry, next time I will have had Elden Ring for a week and I will be talking nonstop about that.
Oh, good. No, I look forward to your reports on the hard game.
So the information that I have like heard about it so far is that it is a Dark Souls game.
Should
so
I
obviously
real quick? Should I just dump all of these like lesser runestones?
yeah, why not?
She's got the money.
2% chance. Who cares?
Yeah, 2% attack power. I can do better than that. I'll keep the 3% up and more.
Yeah. But like it's a Dark Souls game, so it's going to be difficult.
Right.
Period. But from everything I've heard, like if you don't have a lot of experience with Dark Souls, or like you've been frustrated with other games,
I have
Elden Ring is a great start point for the series because it's going to teach you a lot of the lessons you need to learn in order to be good at other Dark Souls games. Because it ramps the difficulty as opposed to being like a Matterhorn. It's more like climbing one of the Appalachian Mountains.
A Matterhorn?
Yeah, and instead of being like a sharp
No, I get the I get the analogy. It's man, I don't want to climb mountains. I don't even like camping. I'm bad at the out of doors. Like,
Take care now.
yeah, I mean, it's like climbing a mountain with a guided Sherpa, but that doesn't sound good to me either. Well, right, but if you're gonna climb a mountain, like it's a horrifically frustrating game. No, I'm sure that I will one day play it for, you know, some reason, whatever. Maybe after the you know, after all the Fallout's gone, why not? I'll give it a whack. See, now even this asshole has Mandrake and Cherry Cordial. He's just a quartermaster.
What's up with that?
Screw you, buddy. You don't even have shoes. But yeah, you know, we'll see if we survive the apocalyptic rage of some little balding 5'6" munchkin who you know, wants to act like he's hard. All of this over some little KGB stooge's ego.
And he was from the weaseliest part of the KGB.
Yeah. But he's set up, you know, this narrative of being the strong man. Yeah. There's a grandmother in Ukraine that has said infinitely harder stuff than he can ever imagine. God, that whole like, hey, put some sunflower seeds in your pocket. That was metal.
Cold-blooded.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. I do admire some of the things, you know, Zelensky has said, like don't put pictures of me up in your office. You're not doing this for me. Put pictures of your kids up. You know.
Yeah.
I jibe with that. Same time, man. It's so senseless. I hate it. And I hate the rift that it puts on people, right? You know, I really wish that that this exchange with our friend hadn't gone down that way.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I hate that it gets people on edge, but that's the reality of things. You know, and it does very little good to bemoan that for too long. Part of the thing that saddened me most is that, like, there can be no conversation if either side is immediately coming from the stance of, you know, I have information that you're not privy to and I can't share, right? Then there's no discussion. There's no functional debate. It's there's no trading of ideas. Then it just becomes, well, I'm right and you're wrong and you have to trust me. But simultaneously, like, I understand that very well may be the case, and that's something that I have to, you know, contend with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just doesn't make it suck any less. Just tired of things sucking, man. I did paint up Dr. Voodoo. He looks pretty cool. He's got a lot of little bits on him.
You'll have to post a picture.
Yeah, like he's a real cool sculpt and a character that I've always loved, because you know me and my obscure 1970s exploitation characters. You know that that's my jam. It's like, man, this guy got a lot of little bones on him.
Yeah.
And each one of the bones I gotta go over in a different color with a different brush, and it's teeny tiny. Colossus was much easier to paint.
So I can't remember if I told you I joined a subreddit for Warhammer 40K, specifically for modeling.
Mm-hmm.
And like, some of the custom models that people have done on there are just
that's incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah, like people that are really good at like conversions, that stuff is amazing.
Where they can like full on sculpt an entirely new model out of green stuff.
It's wild.
That is just wild to me.
I never really got that much into 40K, and unfortunately in the modern times, there are two things that I look for in watching people to kind of go like, hey, are you about to become like an edgy internet fascist? You know, are you about to like really go off the deep end and be like, actually, I think that unbound authoritarianism is good, actually. Honestly, there are two things that I look for, and that is, do you post a lot of 40K memes? Or do you post a lot of Catholicism memes?
Yeah.
Like, specifically, if you're in the mindset where you think that Deus Vult is a fun thing to say in social situations, I have a concern. If everything that you do is also met with, this is heresy, filthy Xenos, then I'm like, you're missing the point of the satire.
Yeah. If you post a lot of 40K memes, but they're all the Tau, you might be authoritarian socialist.
Mm-hmm.
You just might be a tanky if you're all about the Tau.
Okay, poke. Poke. All right.
This water physics today has just been the jankiest.
Is it supposed to not be like this?
Yes.
How could you tell? It's always been like this. That's why I've always hated, like, oh, great, I gotta go swimming again. You know, prepare for it to not care whether or not I'm pressing buttons. There we go. Killer whaled up. Alright, back to the boat. We'll take a breath. This guy's gonna nibble our feet. Dive back down and shoot him in the face with a crossbow. Great. Next. Next one.
Super drowners. Why do you have to so effectively live up to your names?
There we go. Alright, back out to the boats. But oh man, you know, we gotta reject authority. And I said this at the beginning of the chat. Reject authority. Reject authority, especially of those with money. Don't trust them. They're no better than you. Right? In most cases, they're significantly worse than you.
Reject money, accelerate to crab.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, accelerate to mutual aid. Right? Like, in my opinion, there's zero reason why everybody shouldn't have a home. We have more empty homes than we have homeless people.
Yeah.
Right? We could just give them to people that need homes. We could just say, hey, welcome to America. Are you a citizen here? Congratulations, you have a home. Right? One of the big reasons that we don't is we go, but we need the room for cows. Yeah, at least in Texas. Yeah, we could do all that. We could do all of that with a fraction of the budget that we spend on our defense spending, because we're more in love with war than we are in taking care of people.
Oh boy, are we!
Yeah. That just makes me very sad, George. It'd make a hurt in my heart. Yeah. So this episode is you get to listen to a 40-year-old leftist go, "Oh man, come on, you guys, make a utopia already." Come on, everybody. We could do it, like cooperation and stuff. What if we just utopia'd? Right? Like,
Cooperation. That sounds communist to
yes!
me, boy.
Yeah. Absolutely, it is. That's what I want. You know, man, I don't want to work again. I'm no good at it. I want to provide the things that I am good at, which is tiny painted superheroes and sadness. Like, I don't want to have to find a market for that.
You just want to join the union for that.
Yeah. You know, it says if there are so many empty homes, why can't I afford a home? Because they won't let you afford one. It's artificial scarcity. You know,
I mean,
it's the exact things that the grapes of wrath was written about. Like, they would rather see food spoil than let it be sold at less than a profit.
There's no shortage of diamonds in the world, yet diamonds are ridiculously expensive.
Yeah,
because they are artificially
because De Beers says,
inflating the
well, this
prices.
is how valuable they are, and we just believe him, right? It's the color yellow. Speaking of the color yellow, Tom, I downloaded a dating sim.
You were telling me about this. I would like to hear more.
I need to know when you are free so that we can begin playing this monstrosity, because we're going to date some Lovecraftian ladies.
What is the name of this game?
Oh, nope. This is going to be a surprise for you. I've already downloaded it. You'll just have to read.
Oh, so I don't have to get it myself.
No, you don't have to do anything. You just have to show up and try to stay sane, baby. You've played Call of Cthulhu. You know what's going on.
So before we can do that, we need to finish
Borderlands.
Well,
we better get on that, man.
Because Tiny Tina's Wonderlands comes out in less than a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to pre-order that.
I guess I should as well.
I definitely want the deluxe edition.
Yeah. Hey, if you're watching this in the current or near future, and you want to throw some money towards an unemployed 40-year-old leftist who's really sad about the current state of things, leave a comment on the video and ask me how. I just want to live a simple life, man. You know, by this point, I feel like if I haven't severely hurt anybody, that's maybe the best that we can hope for, and we'll just keep it on from there. There's something to be said for striving to live an unremarkable life as well. My boat's a little tore up, Tom.
Yeah, it happens.
But no, I have a question for you, Tom. Who is your favorite superhero?
Like, I would have had very strong opinions about that, like, a decade ago, when I knew enough to know about comics, but didn't realize how little I actually knew about comics. So, I don't know if I can give a good answer.
Give me a bad answer, then. What's weird to me about it is, actually, could you read the Daniel's comment, Tom? I gotta watch my breath and get these chests.
What's weird about it to me is that the investor reports of BlackRock say that the only thing that threatens their stake in single-family housing real estate is the building of new, dense housing stock. Yeah. Like, they're actively fighting against multi-family homes from being built.
They don't want people to actually live there.
I mean, like, my ideal living situation would probably be something like a phalansteer. But I'm a weird utopian socialist, and Marx would have hated me.
Don't worry about it, Tom. I'll hate you in his stead. All right. Tell you what, I think I'm going to travel up here and pick up these, and then I think we're going to call it tonight, because being open about really depressing subjects is exhausting.
Yeah.
So reports of BlackRock. Yeah, what I'm saying is that we have to build condos. Yeah, with what drywall, my dude? Like, again, if I had the capital and wherewithal to do it, that's what I would do, is I would build a commune.
Yeah.
That I would just be like, hey, here's a bunch of, like, apartments. The people who want to live here, come live here. right? Like here's our food place, where we stockpile food. Here's how much this costs us every month. Everybody, let's chip in. Here's ways to be entertained. There's so many people out there that are looking for like the basics of survival. We could provide those, Hartley. I'm not saying personally develop. Oh, you mean develop? No, they won't do it. It'll make them lose money. They will lose money by giving people houses. Because then people won't be buying houses.
Yep.
They'll have them.
And also, it's more profitable to rent than to sell a house to people.
Yeah,
like these companies make more money by forcing you to rent than by selling you a house.
Yeah, no, developers don't want to build multi-family housing. Not unless it's something that they're selling to a property management company. They're not actually selling, like, the apartments to people. They will build a luxury apartment setting and then go, hey, here you go, but you can't live there. You can't actually buy the place to live. Right. You want that monthly subscription fee, right? Like, that's why WoW's like, hey, it's only $20 to buy the game, and you can play it for free to level 20, and after that, it's $15 a month. Capitalism. It's just fucked, man. I got enough D&D books for everybody, is what I'm saying. I have the means of fantasy production. I have a D&D Beyond account. I can share it with everybody. Power to the people. Let's play a game.
Oh no, John. Now you're going to be the Commune's Forever GM.
I'm already the Commune's Forever GM. Why do you think I came up with this idea, right? Like, man, that's okay. Articulation is tricky, especially today. All right, I'm gonna kill this siren and go get a breath before I get these chests here. Drown me once, shame on me.
Yep.
Ah, lady, I do not care. Just come on, water. There's some here to fall heavy armor. Seems a little bit more up my alley.
Yep.
All right, time for another breath.
It's overrated, John.
What, breathing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seems kind of like it in the current age. But Garbage told me that the trick was to just keep doing it, so I gotta listen to Shirley Manson.
Do you, though?
Oh, I do. I have a deep psychosexual obsession that I have to listen to Shirley Manson. I mean, look, man, if you grew up, how much older am I than you, Tom?
Only 2 years.
Okay, so if you were the same formative age or formative stage that I was, the first time that you heard version 2.0, you would understand. Like, it is deeply embedded upon my psyche.
I mean, I didn't start listening to good music until I was like a junior in high school.
You should start listening to Garbage now. Then
I have. I'm not. They have a few good songs, admittedly, but they're not fantastic. They're good.
I find your taste viciously suspect. Viciously suspect. My God, man, do you even Butch Vig?
No.
Do your research, Tom.
I am considerably less goth than you are.
I mean, most people are. Bear! Bear!
Remember, bears don't like being lit on fire.
Bears don't like being hit with a sword, apparently. And the bear was guarding a guy. All right. That's where we are going to end it for the day. I'm going to take a look at this. Oh, my gosh. Look at all this stuff I got. Garbage, 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 garbage. Garbage, garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Not garbage. Garbage, garbage. Oh, these might be. And no, I like the armor piercing. More armor. Maybe. We'll keep that. We'll keep that one in line. But no, here's where we're going to end it for the night. I could swap out my Mahakaman trousers for better Mahakaman trousers.
You should go with those new boots. You're losing 2 armor piercing, which is nothing.
I'm losing 59 armor piercing.
Go back to it.
Okay.
No,
yeah.
the
The
other.
new, yeah, I just have to swap out the glyphs. So, shaka pow. What about these? What about these fancy pants? Less vitality, 5 armor.
The vitality is worthless. Stick with the.
So higher armor.
No, yeah. No, switch to the new ones.
Done.
The vitality means nothing. Go with the higher armor.
All right, let's throw in some glyphs, baby. I am missing most of my good glyphs.
So if you hit right trigger and bring up player stats, you'll see why I say the vitality means nothing.
Oh, you said right trigger. Okay, hang on. Inventory. Right, vitality. Right, yeah, I've got a bunch of it. 87 hours. All right.
Yeah, you have 5,000 vitality, meaning that
vitality is not a factor anymore.
Yeah, it's giving you less than 10%.
Got it. All right. Well, let's make some good. I guess let's get a good Earden on there. A couple of good Ards. I don't have any Ignis yet, but I have an Axie, so it's pretty good. All right. Okay, we're flossing now. We're going to meditate, regain our potions, and pick up bright and early next week. More Fantasy Poland Monday. Perhaps by that time, things will have shifted and changed. So, in the event that worse goes to worse, thank you all very much for watching, and keep doing this in your own life. Find the things that bring you joy. You need the distraction. You can't focus on how horrible everything is all the time. But you got anything to plug, Tom? Anything that's been rocking your world recently?
An announcement from just a few hours ago that I hadn't seen before.
What's that?
Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda Maximoff confirmed for Disney Plus series I Am Groot.
Fantastic.
Interesting.
I mean, look, man, we gotta hope that the world doesn't end before we get to see Moon Knight, right?
Right? That would be very upsetting.
Yeah. So that's what we're aiming for. Everybody, you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys next time. Take it easy out there, everybody. Bye-bye.